Good morning, everybody. My name is Bobbie Richardson. Today I will be doing some channeling. I do this every Thursday, and I also do some tarot dabbling on Tuesdays. Also, I might be doing a little bit more coming up, but anyway, we'll get to that later. I'm also putting together a new video all to do with a new calendar, stepping out of the George area calendar, why they brought in the George area calendar, why we have blue moons, and so forth. So, and some channel messages about that as well. Hey, Cherie, good to see you in the chat bar. I've got a couple of messages that I was writing down throughout the week, and I also want to have a chat about them, but I also will be channeling through as I go. Now, some people ask me, because I don't channel as in go into, a state of mind and be a medium for somebody to come through. I channel as in I tap into my soul, my higher consciousness, and my higher consciousness is connected to other higher consciousnesses in that vibration. And then we almost have this conversation coming through my mind as they see us as all one. They see everyone as one, especially the CYANIANS who are close to oneness. So if you want to see more of how this all happened with me, there's a link below in a video that I produced a couple of weeks ago about my channeling. So anyone that's like saying, oh, she's not channeling, this is the way we're going to go. This is where we're actually moving towards. Humanity's consciousness is going to open up to telepathy. We're going to have a greater awareness of ourselves and understanding of more than just what we perceive outside of us. Because there's this link that we have been ignoring through ignoring our intuition and belittling our imagination and thinking it's useless, and only using it for creating businesses or something like that. But there is so much more that we can do with our life when we start to have a strong connection with who we are at the authentic self, and then we're connecting to our soul and bringing in these messages, and everybody's going to know or be able to do what I can do. I'm not somebody more special than anybody else. I have exactly the same brain as everyone else, and that's the one thing that I found when I was working with a Cherokee elder back in 2006, and over the years, at one stage, she held my hand and talked to me telepathically for over an hour. And when she did that, when I walked away from that, I realized, how can she do that? And most of humanity can't. And it's because of her upbringing. She was taught that she could trust her inner self and trust who she is authentically. And it was just a matter of switching the mind up and realizing that there's just way more opportunity for all of us to be able to expand our reality. And that's where humanity is going. So some of us pick it up easier because where we come from, where our souls came from, we remember. And some of us just need to be reminded a bit more, that's all. But we all have this ability or this capability. It's just that we've been swift by outside problems, fear, not trusting who we are, and not trusting those intuitive thoughts that are coming in. So there's huge changes that are going to happen, and we can see there's a massive shakeup that's going on at the moment. And it's going to keep happening until humanity raises their vibration, realizes that they are more than just the outside body, realizes that they have this whole unique ability to be able to save themselves, where they don't need an outside force to be telling them what to do anymore, because they're trusting who they are at the inner core. And that's really where a lot of these next channelings that are and messages that I'm getting are coming, talking about. So the next one, one of the challenges that I actually wrote down, I'll just read this out and then we'll go from there. Hey Cheryl, hey Yannicka, hey I'm inspired. Good to see you guys. I had an absolutely fabulous birthday yesterday, one of the best birthdays I've ever had. So I'm really thrilled. It was just a gorgeous day with my partner and me, and he just spoiled me no end. So I'm so blessed. Yeah, and I put a little community notice and that up about he actually got me a beautiful cake with my name written on it. Never had my name written on a cake, so I'm really, yeah, so thrilled about little. Sometimes it's the little things that matter the most too. But he did take me shopping, and we went out for breakfast, went out for dinner, all you can eat Japanese. That was really fun. Anyways, enough about me and my birthday. Okay, let's get into these channelings and the seriousness about all of this, although we don't want to get too serious, do we? Okay, here goes. One of the biggest problems or programs we have to dismantle is to compete against one another. This is something that we've all been programmed in through the schooling system. The whole schooling system is based on competition. Doesn't matter whether you're an artist, doesn't matter if you're, into the sports side of things, academic, everything is based on competition, and they want it that way. They don't want us to be working together. They want us to be competing against each other. This isn't a race of who's right or wrong, the fastest or the strongest. This is a time for deep inner work, to look at oneself as you're the only one who knows you the best and what you're capable of. So stop seeing yourself in a competition with the world, and seek what makes you happy. There you will find a level of awareness that unites many. And that's when our uniqueness is going to start shining. And yet we're not going to be the same. Some of us are stronger. Some of us are, wiser. Some of us have more logical intelligence. Some of us, we're all different, and we're supposed to be a little bit different from each other, just so that we can fit together as a beautiful puzzle that has this united ability to be able to form villages and form communities and work well. So some of us love to do the physical work, and some of us are real introverts and the thinkers, and some of us are, better with the creativity, the imaginative side of things, and to spark new ideas. When we see the value in each of us like that, and when we see our own value of what we are bringing to the table, and we stop judging others for not being across the board good at everything. I have two teenagers, one that's going to university, one that's a scientist. She's not a teenager anymore. She's 30. One that's a scientist back in, she's in Sweden. She's been through the whole educational system. She absolutely loved logic. She loved school. She loved the whole compartmentalizing thing, and that's her strength. So even though it was totally opposite of my strength, I, wanted to cherish that, because this is who she is. And now she is a scientist over in Sweden. And what she does with that is her life. It's not mine. I'm a mum. It's her life, and I'm proud of her for what she's achieved, even if it is going against the grain of my own expectations. We are all here for purpose. And then my second daughter, who has just gone to university and now taking a gap year, and she's starting to find that she actually likes the workforce and she likes the fashion and stuff like that. She might go back to university. It doesn't matter. We're all different. And then my youngest is extremely artistic, blow my mind. She's doing art now that I was doing in my 30s, really amazing artist. So she's seeking for a scholarship. In any case, all that aside, each one of them is different. One was more stable and grounded, and everything came easier for her. That was actually my second daughter. The oldest one had to work hard. So we're all different. And when we see that, instead of the schooling system having this across the board, you have to have maths, you have to have English, you have to have this, you have to have that, and then they kind of go, oh yeah, and you're really, really good at art, but you have to have all of these other things to be able to go for a scholarship for art. That sort of stuff, to me, is absolutely ludicrous, because yes, we need to know the basics. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but we need to shift this up. And this can start by ourselves taking back our own uniqueness, seeing who we are, and start to see that we can move or focus towards the goals that we really want, through not through how the system is played out. I have to be good for everything, but to see, use what we really love, especially for our children coming up now. Use what they really love to inspire them to learn maths, to learn English, to learn whatever it is. But also, we want to get them to tap into the other side of all of this coin, which is our intuitive side and our imaginative side, to bring in the value of our feminine right hemisphere that can have connection to even more. And we will spark a whole new reality through combination of both. Here I am talking about the educational system like I could shift it with this one talk, with this one speech, but at least bringing it into our awareness that there is definitely, and I know a lot of people know there's absolutely something wrong with the educational system. But anyway, what else have I got? Even though that we are one, we are still seen by many as being in the teenage stages of evolution. Okay, so benevolent beings see us as all one, and we are all one, but there are different evolutional jumps that each of us are going through. And humanity, when benevolent beings see humanity, we are in the teenage evolution part of our evolution. Sorry, I'm not really speaking very well today, but that's okay. So because they see us as that, where they said, and just as a teenager will rebel, and that's part of their natural cycle of life due to splitting up with a family. So in other words, the way that we've been brought up now, we're starting to, our first awakening, and just as a teenager would awaken in the family, would be to rebel. Oh my God, everything that my parents told me, I absolutely just 100% believe. But now I'm seeing all these little discrepancies that I don't really like about what my parents believe, because it goes against the grain of their own uniqueness. And so now the teenager will start to rebel a bit and go, I don't like that. And then all of a sudden they rebel against everything. So they just turn around and say, we don't like everything. Same thing goes with humanity's consciousness. As they're lifting up, we're stepping out of the teenager years, and we're starting to see that, our rebellion against all authoritative figures could be that we need to mature up and go, okay, there are people that are going, it might not be the ones that are in charge now, but there are going to be people that have some sort of wisdom that we can use to better ourselves, that not every single guide out there is against us, that we can actually seek higher counseling in the form of benevolence, or somebody who's in connection with that benevolence, to actually step up our game. So humanity's consciousness, like, here we are as a teenager being shoved into a corner by an overbearing father. La 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 la, you have to do what I say, because this overbearing father is in fear of losing his teenager. And so the teenager will one day step up and go, no, I'm not doing that, and rebel against the whole of all authority. And then they get to a point, but that authority will still be in presence of the teenager and still trying to, as a reflection, keep them small until the teenager matures into more of an adult and go, okay, I see what you're doing. You're trying to protect me because you're coming from your own lack. You're trying to protect me because you're coming from a place of fear yourself, or you're trying to protect me because you see you do love me and you want the best for me, but you've only got a certain limited way of seeing things. But I know more now and I know better, and I'm going to send love to you. And now I'm going to go, this is what I'll take from you, and this is what I will not take from you. And then move towards a better environment or a better place that they can live their life out in the uniqueness that they become. So this is how benevolence is seeing humanity at the moment, raising themselves out of becoming that teenager, and becoming the adult, maturing up. And what happens when someone matures up? They take responsibility for their own identity, their own uniqueness, themselves. And even if it is going against what the parents are all about, or the authoritative is all about, we're still standing up and saying, this is who I am and this is what I love about myself, so I'm going to follow this path. And it might take me away from you, but this is how it's supposed to be, because otherwise we'll have incest, right? We'll be still entangled in the mess. So there's a natural pull that happens when people wake up and become more aware of who they are. And sometimes it's the overbearingness that smashes down on the teenager that takes the teenager to a limit where they just go, no more. This is what's happening at the moment with humanity's consciousness and where we're going. So eventually the maturity of us in ourselves in our own right of realizing that this overbearing father has been teaching us one way of living, only looking outside us, being responsible for the whole world. If we feel responsible for the whole world that's externally outside of us and nothing with how we feel about what's inside of us, then we can easily be made responsible for everything and easily controlled. It's for the greater good. It's for the greater good that you do this. That sort of statement has been said a lot, because that is telling humanity you're responsible for everything that's outside of you. But the truth is, who we are in the core of ourselves is a value of how we think about ourselves. And then everything outside of us is reflected back at that. So it's it's a very Alice in Wonderland kind of an inside out job that we're starting to come back to. If I myself see myself as an absolutely amazing, beautiful, supported person, then others will start to see me as that as well. If I have in my mind, I'm useless, I'm no good, I can't do anything right, oh my God, I'm responsible for the whole world that's outside of me, and yet I'm only one person. It feels small. You feel small. But if I come back into myself and say to myself, I am of value, I am amazing, I am beautiful, what I speak is something that needs to be heard, I can take up space, I can take up time, and I can be happy in that, then people will start to feel that different shift of vibration with you, and you will start to magnetize or gravitate towards people that are in the same place as you. And it will all start to shift through us fitting together like the jigsaw puzzle of uniqueness, and no more judgment is taken out, because we're no longer judging outside of us. We're only judging our own selves of who we are. We're the ones that put ourselves, we're the ones that weigh our heart against the feather kind of thing. We're the ones that weigh us in the scale of who we are and how we cope with our life. We're constantly in weighment of that. But if we're constantly telling ourselves that we're useless, then our scale is warped. And then somebody will come along and say, you are useless. See, you're responsible for everything outside of you, though, at the same time. So for the greater good, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. And oh my God, I should do all of that. Whatever you say, otherwise I'm not going to fit into society. But society is breaking down. So there's all these different ways that they're trying to explain to us at the moment of how what's kept us in this net, kept us in this closed off, limited thought about who we are. But they don't feel that way. They don't think that way about themselves. If you imagine a benevolent being who's in a high-end, love vibration, you would never expect them to be saying horrible things about themselves and their own thoughts. They'll be moving through life moment to moment and not holding on to that taught them something. In the past, they'll be moving, okay, well, I went through a squiffy moment there. I let it go straight away and I am back in my power. Humanity hasn't learned to step into their power because they're still too busy trying to fixate or fix something that happened in the past by trying to overprotect themselves in case it comes up in the future, which keeps us in fear and then keeps authority figures over top of us telling us what we are and who we are and what to do. So there's this whole freaking game that's going on at the moment that needs to be shattered. And the only way that you can do it personally is to come back into empowerment of yourself and allow or watch the reflection of your family and everyone else start to support you and love you as much as what you've supported and loved yourself. If you see discrepancies within your life that you go along with and go, oh, I'm just putting up with that because, but I really don't like it, but I'm putting up with it because, address those. Say no to them now. Even if don't see how the story is going to evolve. Don't try to grasp outside of yourself and go, oh my God, that person will have to change. I'll never see that person again, all that sort of stuff. No, just say to yourself in your story, I'm not doing that anymore. And then watch everybody else bend and mold or move away from you with that new energy that you've taken for yourself, back for yourself. I recently did this with my teenage daughter who didn't want to hug me. And it was for a few years that it happened. It was bringing up a lot of my own issues because my mother didn't like to have physical contact with us whatsoever. So because of that, it all came up around for me again with my teenage daughter. And then all of a sudden, I just went, I'm not doing this anymore. I know I deserve to be hugged. I deserve to have physical contact. So I'm not doing it anymore. And because of that, there was a big blue. There was a bit of a moment. But instead of engaging too much into it, I engaged a little bit, not too much though. But then I stepped back and went, I'm taking my power back. What do I want? It's nothing to do with what she's going through. It's what I'm going through. I can't change what she's going through. I can only change what I'm going through. So I'm driving along and I just went, that's it. I'm not doing this game anymore. I deserve. So then I went and had a chat to her and said, let's come to and every other time I've had this chat without empowering myself, it's all failed. This time when I empowered myself and said, well, I didn't have to tell her that. I just said, how about we make a compromise? How about we do this? And she just turned around and said, yes, Mum. And I'm like, whoa, that was a massive shift that just happened. It's me taking my power back. So if you want to take your power back and you want to change the world, so to speak, then come from the inner core out. Don't look at changing anybody else. Everything else will start to change towards you. They magnetize and they shift towards you. And you won't lose those that are that love you anyway. They won't. If it's a true love, you won't. If it's not a true love, yes. If it was all a disguise or narcissism or something like that, yes, of course, that will fall away. Why? Because it wasn't real to begin with. So don't be afraid or fear losing those by trying to bring your strength up and become who you are, a true value of yourself. So yes, didn't expect that to all come out. I try to keep my own life separate from my channelings, but for some reason it's pouring out. So we'll just go with it. And I do trust in what they're asking me to say. So what else is there that wants to come through? I feel like that was a big a big thing for me to say, actually, now that looking at that logically. Okay, so let me just center myself a bit so that I can come into alignment with them again. See what else is coming up for now, because it's a massive change at the moment. It's huge what's going on, and we can see it. Now, it's interesting, they're saying you can see it, but do you value yourself enough to say no more to the story? Okay, so they're showing me that when you say no more to the story, certain people are in alignment to speak up about. They have the numbers or the people or the right people that they need to speak up about. And if they are taking back their unique self, they will see the value in who they are. Others need to shift their vibration, and they will feel this. You will feel this within you. Shift their vibration into staying away from all of the hoo-ha that's happening in the outer world and really focusing in on imagining or creating a beautiful scenario somewhere else. Some of us are be positioned in high authority to be able to actually make a stand, make a change, make something happen, actually shift the society by shifting certain programs. Well, they want to say laws, and I don't want to say that word, so I've just said it. But anyway, because I'm a bit worried about what I probably need to do this on another channel that will actually allow. They're saying it's okay. Okay, I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's just go with this. There's going to be people in authority that are in the right place that will actually change things. And then there's people that are meant to be stepping away from all that and using their imagination to actually imagine a whole new creative path. Then there's others that are the go-betweens that don't have that authority or don't have the imagination, but they're the workers that will actually physically ground this, and they come in later. So we're all going to be positioned in the right place to be able to do what we want. The most important thing is, though, to take back our unique self so that we see the value of who we are in the bigger puzzle, in the bigger picture. Because we think through our logical mind, we think that everybody, or the way that we've been programmed, that we think that everybody has to do one thing or another. Oh my God, that person's not doing what I say I should be doing. So what? They're doing the wrong. They're opposing me. They're not standing up and voicing their opinion. They're just sitting back and being an introvert and imagining something different. Well, we're all got a piece of the puzzle. So there's no... We need to step into our own authoritative power so that we stop judging ourselves, so that we stop judging others, even though before they said we are the ones that judge ourselves, which we are, in that lighter scale of judging ourselves against our own hearts. We do that from a soul's perspective, but that's a different judgment compared to the logical judgment of coming down on ourselves and then coming down on others. So sometimes they said that the English language doesn't have words for everything that they want to bring through, and especially I'm not very good at English, so we have to use the same word for this for a different meaning. in other words, even over in Russia, they have like nine different words for the word love. And because it's separated into different types of love, where English is just love. So you have to use that one word for everything. So we have to be aware too of the languages that are being used and feel into the energy that I'm talking about as well, that they're bringing through, rather than just the word itself. And stop judging the word too, they said. So even though I might say the same word for a different thing, I'll try to explain it as I go, because I'm just getting a feeling, and then I have to put a word to it when they're in my mind like that, when I'm connected to them. Sorry. So yeah, so they were really, really pulling us into stop judging each other, because we are going to be all in different places at the right time, at the right place, for the right thing. And if you're already whole within yourself, acceptance of yourself, love who you are, then you will start to see the bigger picture coming from a different perspective of everything. And when you see a higher perspective of everything like that, you will see the game of what's really been played out, and you won't be fixated in on a problem or an issue that's happening over there, which they want you to do, because then it keeps you in the fear-based scenario. You will start to see there's the bigger picture of, oh my gosh, but even though the ones that there are those that are speaking out or changing things up in laws and stuff like that. So yeah. So we're all in the right place at the right time in the end. That's why that's so important at the moment. They're saying to come back to self and just start to love who you are uniquely. Some of us are here just to observe the whole thing, and that was meant to be too. Some of us are just pawns in the whole game, where almost, and they're even saying some of us have put our hands up to be sacrificed for others to be woken up. But in the overall picture, humanity's consciousness is lifting up out of a certain game and into a higher evolution, which is going to be absolutely amazingly beautiful for our children's children. So we have to see it from that bigger perspective, rather than just fixating in on some problem that we try to fix, and yet wasn't even our place to fix that. It was somebody else's place to fix that. And that comes through trust. So how do we trust others to be put in to wake up, and we have to start to trust ourselves and humanity's consciousness moving through this evolution. So then there's the trust game that develops from all of this as well. Yeah. Whew. So there's so much more going on here. And even from their perspective, because they are the observers of all of this, they're showing me each being that, even from their perspective, they can see. CYANIANs who are close to oneness can see all the different levels of awareness, and so they see the Pleiadians and how they're working, and they're part of the whole game. When they come in, when they start to talk to or bring up telepathically with some humans, and then they start to pour this wisdom through, and then they will actually come here as physical beings in the end. Acrturians and so forth, they have another site, they're working with them. Then they can see there are actual funnily enough, Anunnaki, reptilians and all of that sort of thing. There are actually ones of those that are waking up through this as well, because they're seeing the value of humanity waking up for their own benefit, not for their own benefit of becoming closer to love themselves and closer to source energy themselves, and they're feeling a lot lighter within themselves and seeing the part that they played in in the evolutionary history of humanity. And when they see that part that they were played, they don't feel so bad about it, because it was pushing us into a way of helping us grow up and become more mature in ourselves, helping us recognize how to ground things into this planet, how to create with our hands physically and everything, because it's shifting it up. It's becoming a bigger playground for source energy to play in, and source energy is within all of us. So then it has this vaster playground that humanity's consciousness can play in, because we not only are etherical beings connected to source energy and can magically manifest something in our hands, which is what they used to be able to do in the Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu ages, but we can also physically make things and make beauty in this world. And all is meant to be, even technology. It's the only reason why it seems evil is because we're coming from a place of fear of ourselves and our own power. And then we see those who are in charge more powerful than us. And yet nobody is more powerful than source energy, God itself, who lives within you anyways. Nobody is more powerful than anyone else. It's just our own self taking our power back and recognizing that if we decide we can take up space, we can take up time, we're allowed to be here, then that is enough. We're allowed to be unique. We're allowed to be a channeler. We're allowed to be whatever we choose to be, so long as it's coming from the heart space of who we are and authentically loving who we are, then there is no boundaries there. The boundaries were only put in place because we didn't understand when we first started this journey of creating more physically on this planet. We didn't understand that we were mucking up other dimensional places as well, because it was bleeding through to other dimensional places, because we still had this magical ability to be able to seep into those places. So we were pulled into lockdown long time ago to be able to just learn how to physically work on Gaia in a physical way. So we had to have those, that because we no longer had connection to source energy, we were asking for somebody of authority to lead us and guide us, and that's when the Anunnaki came and so forth. So there's a whole other bigger picture to our history too, which when we're awoken to it, we will realize how the actual story developed and where we're actually going to now. So there's so much more. Yeah. Okay, well, that was pretty deep, what they were bringing through. And they're saying they're bringing it through now because we are like on such a verge of going enough. We're on this verge of going enough. You know, they're bringing out the big guns kind of thing. It's like that final slap that dad gives the teenager, and the teenager just goes, okay, now I really have had enough. I'm taking my power back, and I'm not taking it back in an aggressive way. I'm taking it back in a I love who I am, and if you can't see that, then so be it way. And I deserve to be me, authentically me. Yeah. Okay, guys. I think I will leave it there because my head is absolutely spinning from all of that. And yeah, so I'll be back here on Tuesday. I want to shift it up. I keep on wanting to shift it up and bring in more of the stuff. If you guys want more of this, like more daily, I won't do weekends, but it will fall on a Sunday for those on the other side of the world if I do Monday. But yeah, I'm just thinking whether to do even more lives. But if you guys are keen to have more lives, comment below, and I will, if I feel that's the right thing to do, I'll do that. So anyway, love you guys heaps. Don't forget, I am producing a really awesome video, which I have to work on. I didn't do any work on it yesterday, being my birthday, but I will work on it in the next weekend. So that should be up next week, all about that, bringing through my guides want me to bring through suggestions for a new calendar and understanding of why we are where we're at, and what that's actually going to mean to humanity, shifting us up to new vibrations and all sorts of things. So thanks, Brian. It was a great message. Thank you, Brian, for that. Okay, love you guys heaps. Until next time, bye.